So, of course, with math being how it is, they like to introduce word problems into every single section that they can, which is fine. This word problem isn't necessarily very difficult. All we do is just plug in stuff, and it's practicing your ability to type it into a calculator and get an answer out. Okay, so I'm going to write out this question. You don't have to write down the whole question if you don't want, because it's got, it's kind of wordy. It's biology related. But you could just sit back and sort of observe the function. All you'll need to do is really know how to plug in stuff and how to work with it. Okay, so this word problem, it says the function. So this is going to be at a function r. That's I'll tell you what r is in a second. It's 73.3 times the fourth root of capital M to the third power. This is called Kleiber's law. And basically what it does is it says it gives the basal metabolic, oh, of course I can't spell. This is why I became a math teacher. Metabolic rate R. So R is the metabolic rate. Okay, that's a key aspect of this. In calories per day burned. M, capital M, is the mass of a mammal in kilograms. Just outlining the certain pieces of the problem. It's nothing too important here. We just need to know what the letters correspond to. So we have R. So whenever we have R, that corresponds to the metabolic rate. And then when we have capital M, that corresponds to the mass of the mammals. Okay, those are the two pieces that we'll need for this. The question asks you, there's two different parts for you. So the first part says, rewrite the function as a rational power. We saw that, right? So that means take whatever the radical is, in this case, the fourth root of m cubed, and change that part into a rational power form. Okay, so 73.3 isn't involving a radical whatsoever. I'm just going to recopy it down. Okay, I'm going to put 73.3 here. Next, what I want to do is I want to change this fourth root of m to the third into a rational form. How do we do that again? I take what's inside the radicand. Okay, m is the radicand. I take that, I put it inside my parentheses. Now what I do is the power of the radicand is, the power of the rad is cooler. It goes on top. So 3 goes on top, 4 goes on the bottom. And we see that this is an equivalent expression, but it's just in a different form. Okay. Now when we have that in rational form, what it asks us to do is it says, what is the value of R? So let me rewrite. So I'm going to erase this so long as we have this. So this is what we're going to use. This form is what we're going to use in a little bit. We're going to plug something into it. So what happens when I plug in a number for m? Okay, so it says, what is the value of R? Value of R for a cheetah. And you're probably like, what the heck is the mass of a cheetah? So there's a table in the book that gives the mass of a cheetah being roughly 55 kilograms. So we're going to take this 55 kilograms and we're going to plug it in for the mass of the mammal. So we're going to plug it in for capital M. In our original expression, that looks like 73.3. We changed it to rational power form. So let me rewrite that. M to the 3/4. When I plug in 55 for M, this corresponds to 73.3 times 55 to the 3/4 power. The only reason why I changed it into rational root form is because it's easier for us to type into our calculator. Okay, when you type this into your calculator, and I encourage you to do this with me so that way you make sure that you get the correct answer, this ends up being roughly 1480.39. And then this corresponds to, since R was the metabolic rate, it says in calories per day. I'm going to go back to the problem. Calories per day is the metabolic rate. So our unit is just going to be calories per day. Okay, so that's how we would do a word problem in this lesson. It's basically plugging in a number in for a variable and then using our knowledge of how to translate between radical and rational powered expressions, type it into our calculator and figure out an answer. So that's basically how a word problem is going to be structured on the assignment and how I might ask you on a future quiz or test.